You're standing on a beach in Southeast Asia, 60,000 years ago. You've spent your whole life in the forest, but today you're looking at the horizon. There's no land in sight, just a blue, shifting wall of water that stretches into infinity. You have no compass, no maps, and the very concept of a ship hasn't been invented yet. You don't even have a word for ocean, but somehow you or your children are going to end up on an island hundreds of miles away. One of the greatest mysteries of human evolution isn't how we learned to walk, but how we learned to sail before we even knew what a boat was. Today, we're looking at the disturbing reality of ancient ocean travel, how a species of land-dwelling primates conquered the most hostile environment on Earth using nothing but observation, luck, and some very sturdy logs. The most common theory for how early humans reached remote islands isn't a heroic voyage, it's an accident. Scientists call it the rafting hypothesis. Imagine this: a massive tsunami hits a coastal forest. It rips up entire clumps of mangroves and earth, pushing them out to sea. You are clinging to a tangled mess of roots and vines. You aren't sailing, you're surviving. This isn't just speculation. We've seen this happen in modern times. Animals like iguanas have been found colonizing islands after floating on storm debris for weeks. For early humans, the first ship wasn't a crafted vessel, it was a floating island of trash and trees. This accidental discovery is likely how Homo erectus reached the island of Flores nearly 1 million years ago. It's a terrifying thought, being pushed into the deep blue by a force of nature with no way to turn back. But eventually, we stopped waiting for storms. We started choosing to go. But how do you navigate when the sun goes down and there's no landmark in sight? Early humans didn't need GPS because they turned their own bodies into biological sensors. They watched the birds. If you see a frigate bird, you know land is within 50 miles because those birds can't sleep on water. They felt the swell. Ancient navigators would lie down in the bottom of their primitive rafts and feel the vibrations of the waves against their spines. They could distinguish between a deep ocean wave and a wave that had bounced off a distant island. This is the science behind everyday things at its most raw. They were reading the planet like a book, using the weird historical detail of cloud colors. Greenish tints on the underside of clouds often meant light reflecting off a hidden lagoon to find home. There is a place in the ocean called the Wallace Line. It's a deep water trench between Bali and Lombok. Even during the Ice Age, when sea levels were low, this trench never closed. It was a permanent, terrifying barrier of deep, fast-moving water. For millions of years, land animals couldn't cross it, but humans did. To get to Australia or New Guinea, our ancestors had to cross at least 50 miles of open, deep ocean. This is where we see the transition from clinging to a log to building a craft. You are there. You've tied 3 or 4 bamboo stalks together using vines. It's not a boat, it's a platform. It leaks, it's slow. But bamboo is naturally buoyant because of its hollow chambers. It's a biological invention that humans exploited. This leap across the Wallace Line is the first time in history a land animal consciously decided to conquer the abyss. As we've seen in how ancient humans accidentally invented tools, the first real boat was likely a hollowed-out log. But a log is unstable, it rolls. The genius moment came when someone realized that if you tie a second, smaller log to the side of your main log with 2 poles, it becomes impossible to flip. This is the outrigger. It's a simple piece of physics that allowed ancient humans to travel thousands of miles across the Pacific. They weren't just moving, they were carrying their lives with them. They brought seeds, dogs, and chickens on these tiny platforms. They turned the ocean from a disturbing barrier into a highway. This wasn't just survival. It was the first global logistics network built out of wood and stone. We often think of ancient humans as primitive, but their ability to cross oceans without a single piece of metal is proof of a sophisticated understanding of the natural world. They didn't have ships, but they had intent. Today, we look at the stars and dream of crossing the ocean of space. But 60,000 years ago, our ancestors looked at the literal ocean with the exact same mix of fear and curiosity. We are a species of explorers, not because we have the best technology, but because we are biologically wired to wonder what's over that next horizon.